Okay, everybody, here we go. Sit back and relax because just when you think you've heard it all, you haven't. This is Friday, May 5th, 2023, my pre-market report. So right now, there's a couple of big stories going on, but in my opinion, the biggest thing that we're hearing right now is these regional banks are somehow going to get support or a lifeline from the Federal Reserve. Oh, I'm so shocked. What is this really about? Well, it's about a temporary propping up of these institutions just long enough so they can be absorbed into the collective, into the larger banking system here. So on the back of this rumor that these regional banks are going to get some kind of a lifeline, a bailout, whatever it is, regional banks are rebounding pretty nicely this morning. Look, we'll see how this plays out. In my opinion, I'm not surprised about this at all. Again, you and I have discussed over and over and over again since this whole thing started how this is just a mechanism to consolidate the system or integrate, according to the mainstream media propaganda. That's what they're saying. Integrate. Well, they can't allow these institutions to just keep evaporating. They must be propped up somehow long enough so they can be bought out pennies on the dollar by the larger institutions. So that's a pretty big story this morning. The fact that the smaller institutions are getting propped up, and Apple did beat on earnings. This is pushing stock futures higher nicely across the board. We did have just a couple of days of this market getting hit, so you would expect a bounce anyway here. So just so you have a handle on this, that's what's driving stock futures. Rumors of some kind of a lifeline or a bailout for these smaller banks, and then Apple. As Apple goes, so goes the market. Generally, this is a true statement, but we'll see how that plays out. Now, the other piece of information, it's laughable, honestly, and we'll talk about why it's laughable in a moment, is this jobs report, this payrolls report that we just got this morning, coming in much, much better than expected. However, the same number for the prior month and the last month, these were just revised much lower, much lower. So you can imagine and pretty much have it guaranteed that this particular number, this fantastic number that we got today, part of the Joe Biden re-election campaign, of course, is also going to be revised much lower. Do you trust the data? I don't think you do. It's incredible. It really is. How they have and how they can pull off something like this. Again, the prior 2 months was supposed to be a great number too, but they just got revised monumentally lower, as will this one as well. So that's the big stories this morning. The regional banks, some kind of a lifeline to the Fed, Apple's earnings, and this issue with the jobs market here. You can't make this stuff up. It's impossible to do. Now, here's the other piece of information that is very interesting. So, keep in mind that they just revised the last two jobs numbers much lower and just got this great one today. So, with regard to the economy, well, we just found out that it is slowing at a faster pace than was anticipated, but we're adding more jobs. How does that work? How about it doesn't work? It doesn't make any sense. And of course, again, this number is going to be revised much lower as well. But what would you expect? Do you think you're going to get a shred of truth anymore? How about no in any way, shape, or form? So with that, again, let's just cover this real quick. Stock futures higher. Now, what is coming back here? The debt market is rearing its ugly, unstable head yet again. Massive fluctuation. We had almost a 10-point jump higher in the 10-year yield. This wavering around here in the debt market is not normal. You all know that. These signs of instability, what does that mean? It means that the Fed is going to have to get in here, not only prop up the smaller banks until they can be bought out by the bigger banks here, they're going to get in here more than likely and try to stabilize the debt market. Because, look, with the re-election campaign of the mummy man himself, they cannot allow anything to come through here. Again, regional banks being propped up. Go look at the regional banks right now. I mean, it's absolutely out of control. Pac West up like 25%. Western Alliance 22%. Zion's Bancorp 15%. I mean, it's crazy. Just on the rumor that the Fed is going to bail them out, they're going to get a lifeline. We'll see if it's true. Again, what would I be doing here if I was getting short the banks? I probably would short the banks right here because I think I don't know if this rumor is going to be true, but it might not be a bad, the smaller banks. The big banks, don't even try to short them, okay? Because obviously as these smaller institutions get bought up, the big bank stock they're going to go higher here. But we are going to see this bleed off, I have no doubt about it, into one or two larger institutions. We're going to keep our eyes on that. But I mean, no surprise to anybody here. This is the most twisted freaking system in the history of the world. Cryptocurrencies are getting a bit higher this morning. Gold and silver under some pressure. Relative strength of the dollar higher. Crude oil, people, is higher by 3%. All right. They're not going to allow, again, where's the bottom here? We kind of have an idea where the bottom is for crude. At least in the short run, it's upper 60s, 70s, something along those lines here. And if you see crude oil falling to those levels there, if you're an investor in crude, that's probably where you want to add to your positions here. Just talking about positions real quick. Most of you know I initially took a short position against the S&P 500, ticker SPY. This was last Tuesday, very volatile. However, we did pull a profit out of that. Nothing monumental, but a profit nonetheless here. I did open up a new position yesterday, okay? That position initially did very, very well. Some of you already closed out and pulled a profit now. As I said, stock futures are higher. Is it going to last? Let's see where this goes. We'll have a much better handle on this as the day progresses. Again, consider what I'm saying here. This rumor about a lifeline for the smaller institutions, it may just be a rumor. And this rebound that we're seeing here with regard to the smaller institutions, this may just fall through the floor if it comes out that this is not going to happen here. Again, these institutions, these smaller institutions, they're trying to be sold, okay, or absorbed by the larger banks. And we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Again, just be ready for whatever's coming, people. And I think you're already there. The propping up of the system, we're not allowed to have a free market. It's clear, okay? In a real market, these institutions would be allowed to fail. They're not, again, instead of being allowed to fail, they're going to be absorbed into the too big to fails, and they're going to be even bigger as they, again, consolidate the system for the Federal Reserve's rollout of their new system, which is, I don't think this is too far off, okay? I really, really don't. So get yourself ready for it. It's coming. You can't stop it. We can't stop it. This is something that has been in the works for more than likely for decades here. How does this whole system work? The environment that we are in right now is nothing but a side effect that has been planned way, 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 way in advance by the Federal Reserve, by central banks. We are living in the side effect of what they've planned for us. And they already know what's coming down the pike, okay? So do we, okay? A complete and utter meltdown of that debt market is coming. It is going to be beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Honestly, it's going to wipe out beyond anyone's dreams the global stock markets. I don't think people are prepared for what is coming with regard to the financial destruction and economic destruction that is coming. And all the scapegoats are being set up. War, Russia, China, whatever it might be, okay? Because you know how this works. The central banks must remain, spotless here. They always get everything right. There's no accountability anymore. And there never will be. Again, who's going to pay for all this? You and me. You and me. We always bear the brunt of everything. Our politicians, nothing. They're all going to walk away with multi-million dollars in however they're going to acquire this, more than likely illegally. Okay, kickbacks and all kinds of stuff like that. You know how this works. Corruption has proven to be the destroyer of nations, and I don't think we could possibly be in a more corrupt environment than we have now. We have no representation. Our voices don't matter anymore. It's the same scenario. Look back on history at the fall of empires, and that's exactly what we have today. All right. So, in summary, just real quick, stock futures higher across the board on propping up of the smaller regional banking sector. On the rumor that they're going to get a lifeline from the Federal Reserve or a bailout or something along those lines. And in my opinion, it is just a mechanism to keep them propped up so they can be bought out by the larger institutions here. Does this mean that this is over? All of a sudden, this market's going to rip to new record highs? I don't think so. I'm not surprised that we're having a little bit of a bounce here, but I still think there's more downside. And this could come relatively soon. Of course, I will keep all of you on top of this. Look, I don't care what they do, people. We can't be beaten. We cannot be beaten. We're too strong. And we already understand. We know what they want, okay? What do central banks want? Well, they already told us what they want. They want to be the lenders and buyers of last resort. They want to own it all. And they're creating a new feudal system on an unprecedented scale. You know this. Extreme haves, extreme have-nots, a wipe out of the middle class, more dependency on the system, more dependency on the system, more dependency on the system. You understand? All right, I will see all of you live, 1:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Have some questions ready for me. We'll cover them at that point. All right, love you a lot. Please share the video. Thanks for all those thumbs up yesterday on my last video. It was fantastic. I hope we can repeat that now and, of course, later for my live stream. All right? Love you a lot. See you later.